No society wants you to become wise. It is against the investment of all societies. If people are wise, they cannot be exploited. If they are intelligent, they cannot be subjugated. They cannot be forced in a mechanical life to live like robots. They will assert their individuality. They will have the fragrance of rebellion around them. They would like to live in freedom. Freedom comes with wisdom, and no society wants people to be free. The communist society, the fascist society, the capitalist society, the Hindu, the Mohammedan, the Christian, no society would like people to use their own intelligence. Because the moment they start using their intelligence, they become dangerous. Dangerous to the establishment, dangerous to the people who are in power, dangerous to the haves, dangerous to all kinds of oppression, exploitation, oppression, dangerous to the churches, dangerous to the states. In fact, a wise man is a fire, alive, flame. He would like rather die than to be an slave.
Armed men everywhere. Armed men everywhere. Robert Seagal, DSS, military, police everywhere. Because we want to protest. Freedom is dead. If they shut up protesters, if they shut up the National Assembly members, then Nigeria is finished. We can't be scared of our president in our own countries. They are not refugees, they are citizens. I come out, come out. Wow. Rather kind of people, I rather be a rebel than a slave. Armed men everywhere. Armed men everywhere. Robert Seagal, DSS, military, police everywhere. Because we want to protest. Freedom is dead. If they shut up protesters like they shut up the National Assembly members, then Nigeria is finished. We can't be scared of our president in our own.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are watching from. Welcome to the African Wahala on Diaspora Radio International. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful day. It's the 14th of February 2022. Today's conversation has to do with politicians. As usual, that's what we talk about for the most part. And we also have to talk about the relationship that we have, the people, with the politicians. There was a video that went viral in the past few days of Bola Tinubu Ahmed. A lot of us have already seen that video. It has to do with him visiting a traditional ruler in Ijebu land. And during that visit, Tinubu can be seen with wet cloth, right? His agbada, that is the traditional attire that he has on, is wet. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And please let me know if the audio has any problems. If the background tune is too loud, I can reduce the volume. And please feel free to drop your comments in the comment section. We can interact to make this section more like a conversation. Now, you look at the picture that I have shared on the screen. It's Tinubu, his security guard, and in this circle is wet cloth. Now, the caption here reads, "They should get quality pampers for Tinubu so that his poo or pee won't show next time." That's what one of the human rights activists, Deji Adeyonju, tweeted or said, reacting to the video. And a lot of people agree to this, that Tinubu needs to, come out in public with proper protection, have his diapers on, maybe nappy or pampers, so that he doesn't soil himself and embarrass himself in public. But the truth is, hardened criminals have no shame and they have no regrets. And no matter how much advice you give them, whether you're their family members, doctors, or anybody that genuinely cares about them, they will not listen because their agenda has to be manifested. Tinubu's camp came out with a bunch of trash, debunking the videos, calling the videos edited, doctored. That's what they like saying. Oh yeah, it's from the enemies. It's from the enemies of Tinubu. They don't want him to become the president, so they doctored a video to show him like he has defecated himself, like he had shot himself. But we are not blind, okay? I mean, we clearly saw that video. I would have shared it here, but there is no point. The reason why I came on this live stream is because of the reactions from a lot of Nigerians. A lot of Nigerians are of the opinion that Tinubu, man, is an old man. He needs to relax and stop disturbing himself about his ambitions of being the next Nigeria's president. He needs to go retire and play with his children, his grandchildren. He needs to go back to his village and just live a peaceful life like an old man. But the problem is, this same Tinubu guy, the reason why we are all on his neck cooking him right now is because of his antecedents. Tinubu was the former governor of Lagos State between 1999 and 2007, the first Republican Democratic governor in the Fourth Republic of Nigeria. What is Tinubu's legacy? In my opinion, it's Agberos. Tinubu created a bunch of young guys that will hurt you, harm you, fight for him just to get crumbs from him. Tinubu has successfully weaponized poverty in such a way that the victims of the weaponization of poverty will fight and possibly kill you for speaking up or campaigning against Tinubu. Now, those youths, millions of them in Lagos, today you find them having clashes. You hear about NURTW, that's National Road Transport Union workers, are fighting against Okada riders. 5 people have been stabbed to death. 10 people have been killed. Find a clash like this headline from Vanguard, January 24th, 2022. 4 killed as NURTW factions clash in Lagos. These are the boys that are victims of weaponization of poverty by Tinubu. That is Tinubu's legacy. So if this Tinubu guy that has committed crimes with his private company, Alpha Beta is a private company that belongs to Tinubu and his family, that is like an intermediary organization between the Lagos state government and the Lagos State IRS, that's FIRS, Revenue Services. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys that are responsible for calculating the income that you make as an individual or a company, and they will tell you the amount of taxes that you need to pay. Alpha Beta, a company that belongs to Tinubu, has been manipulating the system in such a way that Tinubu has been getting billions of naira every single month for over a decade from Lagos State. Tinubu is the godfather of Lagos State. He pretty much owns Lagos. Since 1999 that he became the governor, every other governor, successor, has been handpicked by Tinubu. Now, this dynamic has created a system where corrupt individuals are the only ones that get there, and their inactions and actions has led to more suffering of the people. The billions of naira that Alpha Beta Company has stolen from Lagos State's purse could have been used to build hospitals, good roads, good schools, and factories so that the NURTW boys, the Agberos that fight and kill themselves every day, they could have had better education and be more useful to themselves and the society. But Tinubu did not make that happen because he stole the money for his private use. The hospitals that Tinubu deprived Lagosians of having intentionally. He has access to the best medical facilities in the world because Tinubu is always in the UK, in the US, everywhere else for medical treatment. But the millions of Lagosians that he has deprived from having access to good healthcare system, they are forced to use LASUS. I'm talking about hospitals that are extremely dilapidated. So why should such an individual be accorded any chance or opportunity to just, man, he's an old man, let him go and retire, let him sit down and play with his grandkids? What about the grandchildren of other people whose lives he has destroyed? He does not get to play with his grandkids. I'm sorry. We Nigerians, okay, we easily emotionally forgive people because you think they are old, they are elders in the society. Just let it go. You know, he's an old man. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, he clearly knows what he's doing. In a normal country, in a normal society, an old man like Tinubu, if he's not currently in prison, he should have gone to prison for at least 10 years. He should have had 90% of his assets seized and returned back to the state. But we know the Nigerian system is extremely corrupt. The judiciary is as good as non-existent. The judiciary system only punishes poor people. So rich people like Tinubu do not go to jail. They are protected. They have immunity. And we, the victims of the system, have somehow also emotionally given them the leeway. We've given a guy like Tinubu the leeway because we've seen a viral video of Tinubu shitting himself and peeing himself in Awujale's palace. And we're like, oh man, this is so embarrassing. Ah man, this Tinubu guy, he's too old. Let him just go and relax and play with his grandchildren in retirement. Let him just go and take care of his health in peace and spend the last days of his retirement in peace. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. In a normal society, you have to be held accountable. If you are a public servant, a public office holder needs to pay for his crimes, especially if those crimes are documented and there are evidences on him. Look at Tinubu. I spoke about the Alpha Beta company that has laundered billions. Matter of fact, let's go through this article real quick. We're not just skim reading. This is an article from Premium Times, okay? October 2020. Tinubu, Alpha Beta company, and others accused of fraud, tax evasion, and money laundering. Now, Tinubu's supporters are going to say, oh yeah, he beat that case. There was no evidence against him. But we, the people, we know that Tinubu is a crook. He's the political godfather of Lagos. And his political godfatherism has only yielded more poverty-stricken people in Lagos and more violent thoughts, Agberos. So then, why should we give him a leeway? And this is not only about Tinubu. This is not even an attack on Tinubu personally. He's just one of them. There are many politicians out there that fall in the same category. Over the decades, we just let it be swept under the carpet because nobody wants to, work the judiciary system to have them tried for their crimes. For example, you look at a guy like Babangida. Babangida now is an old man. He has health issues as well, but he lives in his mansion. He has a mansion in Minna, Niger State, that he dwells in. How did he acquire that? He was a former Nigerian military general. And all military generals out of Nigeria are billionaires because that is one of the easiest avenues to make money. You are literally in control of a country, so you can easily steal money with impunity and nobody will come for you. So you have Babangida. He stole power from Buhari through a military coup. Now, keep in mind, Buhari himself is another thief that stole power from a democratically elected government through a military coup. Buhari stole power from Shagari. Babangida came, stole power from Buhari. So criminals are dealing with criminals, fighting against each other, no problem. Fast forward, that Buhari that stole power from a democratically elected government made it all the way to become a president of the country, which is a joke, but let's put that aside. Then you have Babangida. He did the same thing. After he stole power from Buhari, he started the structural adjustment plan. That was a big scam where they made themselves billionaires and many Nigerians poor in the late 80s. And then in the early 90s, there was supposed to be another election. As a matter of fact, there was another election in 1993, and that was considered the most free and fair election in Nigerian history. Babangida stole that election from Nigerians for his own personal greed, himself and the cabal. To whose detriment was that? To us Nigerians. So now, we Nigerians that had to suffer because a democratic system was stolen away from us. We know that we didn't have the power to have Babangida sit down in front of a competent court, in front of a competent judge to try him for his crimes. So we let him continue. And you know what the guy did next? He brought in Sani Abacha to become the next leader of Nigeria. Sani Abacha pretty much legalized impunity. He was a thief and a murderer that committed crimes with no recourse to anybody. Nobody could hold him accountable. And that was the legacy of Babangida. Fast forward, that Babangida, because he was never tried, he never sat in front of a competent judge, in front of a court. Today, he is an elder statesman in the country, someone that is supposed to be in prison. He is an elder statesman that new politicians go to meet and ask him for his permission before they become the next president. You find all these new politicians, oh, let's go and meet that heavy criminal that is supposed to be in prison, but the Nigerian system has prevented that from happening. So let's go meet him to ask for his endorsement to become the next leader of this country. So the reason why we have people like Babangida today, or Obasanjo today as elder statesmen, is because the Nigerian system never tried them for their crimes against Nigeria and Nigerians. Same thing has happened to Tinubu. He falls into that category of people that should have been tried, but he was never tried. Unfortunately, because of how corrupt Nigeria is, he is also trying to become the next president. And this is why we as a people, we need to start changing our mentality as far as corrupt public office holders are concerned. It's time we need to start demanding for their trial and prosecution in front of a competent court and judge. But if I'm being realistic, the courts in Nigeria are a joke. The judges are easily paid. The head of the judiciary is a Sharia court judge. The Attorney General of the Federation, the head of the Minister of Justice, he is a criminal, a thief, a liar, a manipulator. So the entire judiciary system is a joke. And for that reason, now it's kind of difficult. It's an uphill battle to successfully try these past criminals for their crimes. But that's another conversation for another time. Most importantly, we as a people, we need to change our mentality and stop giving these guys the leeway. The fact that Tinubu's viral video of him shitting himself and peeing himself went viral, and people started feeling some sort of sympathy that, oh man, this guy is just embarrassing himself. He needs to go take care of himself and hang out with his grandchildren. But what about the millions of grandchildren that have become agberos, that have become poverty-stricken, that have died of malaria, preventable deaths in Nigerian hospitals? Do you know that in Lagos State, if you are sick, you go to the hospital, you require emergency medical service. If you don't have a deposit to pay at that hospital, you're not going to survive it. The hospital will kick you out, unless maybe if you're lucky that particular day there is a guy that has humanity in his core, or there is a woman, a head doctor, a head nurse in the hospital that has humanity and feels sympathy for you, but you don't have money to pay for a deposit for your medical care. Maybe that person might help you. But if that doesn't happen, forget it. You're going to get kicked out with your emergency condition, and you're going to be left to die outside the lawn of the hospital. We've seen and heard of pregnant women that couldn't pay for childbirth. They had to give birth on the lawns of hospitals because they couldn't afford it. Meanwhile, the money that should have been used to build multiple hospitals that are affordable for the general public has been stolen by this criminal, Tinubu, and his gang members. And then you are still somehow saying that, man, let him just retire. He's an old man. He pees himself and he shits himself these days. So let him just retire and go play with his grandchildren. What about the grandchildren's lives that have been cut short because of his greed? Their actions and inactions, these wicked, evil politicians, always has profound negative impacts on the lives of millions of people. And for that reason, you can't just let it go. Insane countries, I'm going to have to say this again. You go to a country like the United States, because that is one of the easy reference points. And the United States itself has a ton of problems. It's far from a perfect country. But I can guarantee you that in the United States, if there is so much dirt on a public office holder, a politician, as we have on a guy like Tinubu, no way can he be running for another public office. No way would he not have been sentenced, or at least tried in front of a competent judge in a court. No way. In a country like China, it's even worse. He would have been hung. They will hang him straight up. Corrupt public office holder, you're going to get hanged, sentenced to death immediately. But in Nigeria, and we always claim that we want to strive to become a normal society, when we, the people that are the victims of these criminals, are giving them a leeway, saying, no, just let them go play with their grandchildren. No, you don't get to play with your grandchildren. You've killed many other people's grandchildren. You need to be in prison. And if you doubt me, if you say, man, African Wahala, you're being too harsh, man. You're being too harsh. Just let it go, man. These are old men. He's old. You also want to grow old. Oh, you also want to grow old, right? I'm going to show you a story of a 100-year-old man in a Nigerian prison. The man was eventually released. He got into prison when he was 82 years old. And he was released when he was 100 or 101. And then he died a few months after. So if a 100-year-old man can be in prison after spending 18 years in prison in Enugu or somewhere in the east, death row inmate Celestine Egbonoche has been dubbed Nigeria's oldest prisoner amid a campaign to call for its release. Just so you know, this article is from 2018, October 11th. He's 100 years old. He has spent 18 years in prison after being found guilty of organizing murder. So basically, what happened in this story was that Mr. Celestine Egbonoche and his son were sentenced to prison for masterminding the murder of an individual, all because of land issues. The old man was sentenced to death row in prison. He was there for 18 years. You know, in Nigeria, as a matter of fact, before he was sentenced, he was in prison for 14 years. Then after 14 years in prison, he was sentenced to death row. So in total, he was in jail for 18 years 14 out of which he was never sentenced. He was just awaiting trial. Then 4 years on death row. But eventually, people brought the story to limelight and he was forgiven. And he died a few months after because he was extremely frail, weak. If you're 101 years old and you're in prison, in a Nigerian prison, I can only imagine how difficult your life will be. But the point of bringing this story up is that old people get sentenced to prison. This man killed one person, according to the stories. He allegedly masterminded the murder of one person. How many people has Tinubu and the rest of these evil politicians masterminded their killings? Did they go to prison? No. How many people have they been a part of their murder? Many. Even the NSAS campaign that ended up leading to Lekki massacre in October 2020, Lekki Tollgate. Tinubu was fingered. He was one of the people that everybody was pointing their fingers towards because Tinubu is the godfather of Lagos and he makes a lot of money from that tollgate. The point here is the judiciary system is for the poor people only. The rich people are immune from the judiciary system, but it's our own responsibility as the regular people to force the system, the judiciary system, to hold these people accountable. Because it's a slap on our face that a criminal, a hardened criminal that started his career crime from being a drug dealer in Chicago in the United States, coming back to Nigeria, faking a Nadeco organization, then becoming the governor, then creating Alpha Beta Company that has laundered billions in his name, then appointing his wife as a senator. Well, his influence made his wife a senator. His daughter became the Iyalaja of Lagos. And in fact, they came out today boastfully saying that his daughter is the Iyalaja of the entire Nigeria, where his son is one of the major shareholders or stakeholders in Alpha Beta Company, another billionaire. These people have personalized Lagos State and a lot of the institutions in Lagos for themselves. And you're telling me that the adverse effects that these people have had, which has hurt millions of people and killed hundreds of thousands of people, we have to let him go? Just let him go. He's an old man. Let him go play with his grandchildren. No, that's not how it works. We need to change our mindset. And part of the reasons why we should be ashamed of ourselves, especially you Nigerians that like being proud. Oh, I'm a Nigerian. I'm a proud Nigerian. It's the greatest economy in Africa. You should bury your head in shame because individuals that are politicians are more powerful than the institutions in the country. The only people that the institutions are more powerful than are the poor people. But individuals like Tinubu, more powerful than the institutions. Individuals like Babangida, Obasanjo, Buhari, all these top elite politicians, they are more powerful than the institutions. That's why they can't go to jail, even though we all know the crimes that they committed. I'm going to take you to South Africa real quick, just so you can see the difference between Nigeria and South Africa. As messed up as South Africa can be, because don't even get it twisted, they have a lot of problems in South Africa. But as messed up as South Africa can be, the judiciary institution still had the powers to sentence an immediate past president to jail for contempt of court. So look at this headline from Voice of Africa. South African High Court orders Jacob Zuma back to jail. So what happened in this story was that Jacob Zuma was being tried for some corrupt practices while he was in office. If you remember, he was the most recent president of South Africa before Ramaphosa. Now, Zuma and his huge supporters, they were obviously supporting Zuma, protesting against the trial that was going on. And then a judge ordered Zuma to show up in court and defend himself. But because Zuma has a culture of corruption with impunity, he decided not to show up to court. And then the judge stamped him to be arrested and go to jail. And that happened. He went to jail, I believe, for a few days, maybe 1 or 2 days. He got out of jail. His supporters were protesting against the court ruling. And then the judge came back and ordered him to go back to jail. All of this happened last year, December 2021. The point of sharing this story with you guys is to show you the levels between Nigeria and South Africa. To show you the fact that you are more likely to get justice from the South African criminal justice system than what you can get in Nigeria. So for you Nigerians that like bragging unnecessarily, you like bragging about it being the giant of Africa, you like arguing with South Africans, they have a real judiciary system, okay? It might be far from perfect, but it's 1,000,000 times better than what you have in Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, this will never happen. You can't find a past president going to jail. That's a joke. In fact, the poor Nigerians that are the victims of that past president, they will come to his defense that no, Baba cannot go to jail. Oh, no, that's not fair. No. How would you put His Excellency, honorable president? How would you put him in jail? No, that's not acceptable. You will find Nigerians that are the victims of this criminal defending him from going to jail. So that's where we need to change our mind. This is a mental revolution platform. We have to unlearn so many crazy things that we've been thinking about our entire lives and relearn proper things. Because it makes no sense to have a guy like Tinubu that is supposed to be in prison, or at least have served years in prison for his crimes, for having that bullion van pull out of his compound close to elections. No explanation. How can you have 2 bullion vans or 3 bullion vans pull out of a private property? Each bullion van has billions of naira. No EFCC investigation. Even if there was, it was swept under the carpet. Because Tinubu is a rich, powerful man and is bigger than the judiciary system, is bigger than the system. While the rest of the people are supposed to be victims of the system. And those same people, a lot of them, not everybody, the same people that are the victims of the system are coming out to defend Tinubu or coming out to show sympathy. No, he's an old man. We understand he's shitting his pants. We understand he has no control over his bladder anymore. So it's time for him to just retire and go play with his grandchildren. No. Before that happens, he has to go to prison. He has to be, at least, if he can prove himself innocent to all the allegations against him, then we can say he can go play with his grandchildren. But before then, a normal society would hold a corrupt public office holder accountable. And that's the culture we need to develop as Nigerians. So with all of that being said, I'm just going to round up this show by saying thank you for coming through. It's a quick mental revolution topic on the African Wahala. Big shout out to Mayegun General. Man, I can't thank the brother enough for giving me this opportunity to broadcast on his platform, Diaspora Radio International. And the platform is going to grow. Oh, yeah. There are some big plans behind DRI where Diaspora Radio International will have a huge positive influence on a lot of people and help people start realizing different ways that they can actually think about these things. For example, it makes no sense for you to continue respecting criminals just because they are elders in your community. We understand our Nigerian culture, the African culture requires you to respect your elders, which is a great thing. I mean, you should be proud that you respect your elders because that is just awesome. A lot of people don't around the world. They do not respect their elders, but we do. But you need to be able to draw the line between respecting your elders and having to respect an old person regardless of the content of his character. Okay, it's one of the ways that we, the people, are emotionally controlled or influenced. Okay, and that has to stop, period. That's the only way that we can hold these public office holders accountable and possibly have a better society in the future. And if many other societies come out of Nigeria eventually, if Nigeria breaks up, which I will be happy about, okay, the new countries that would emerge, we would need to implement some of these revolutionized mentalities. Otherwise, if we take this old brain to the new countries, we're just going to fuck them up like we've done Nigeria, where you give leeway to a criminal. Because the criminal, like Bola Tinubu Ahmed, has been shitting his pants and peeing himself every day and everywhere. We heard he was on a flight from Minna to Lagos before they got to Lagos, or from maybe Kano to Minna, something like that. Before they got to Minna, the man has shot himself and peed himself again. Now he went to Ijebu Ode to see the Awujale. He's shitting himself and peeing himself. His bodyguard is holding his nose. The man is filthy, right? Very dirty guy. And people are somehow feeling sympathy, like, oh man, this guy is embarrassing himself. Oh, I feel so sad for this old man. This old man, don't you know you need to take care of yourself? Don't you know you need to go look out for your health? Even though you're like 1,000 years old, he claims he's 70 or 69, but we know he's like 1,000 years old. Okay, he's giving us football age. Even though you're 1,000 years old, it's time for you to just go chill out in your village with your in your farm with your grandchildren, and you guys can be having a good time playing Ludo from morning to night. No, that's not how it works. You don't get to ruin people's lives and then go scot-free. That's the bottom line of this conversation. No, you don't. You have to go through the system where you are held accountable for ruining people's lives. As a public office holder, that has stolen money that doesn't belong to you, money that was supposed to be used to build hospitals and good roads, okay? Money that was supposed to be invested in VIO and road safety and LASMA, okay? So that they can conduct proper pre-trip inspection on trucks, those trucks that convey containers from Apapa Wharf into the mainland and everywhere else in the city. And then they get to Ojuelegba, they get stuck on the bridge. Somehow, the container on the truck falls on a passenger vehicle beside the truck, crushes people to death. All of that could have been avoidable if the proper funding was given to Vehicle Inspection Office, Federal Road Safety Service Commission, and LASMA to conduct daily pre-trip inspection on the vehicles and to enforce the drivers to make it a part of their culture to inspect their vehicles before driving on the street. But no, that's not the case. All that money was stolen by Tinubu. Now people are getting crushed by containers, by trailers. Now people are driving into potholes. They die. I remember Dagreen, one of my favorite rappers, R.I.P. Dagreen. Dagreen died in a car accident. What happened? He was driving in Lagos in his Nissan Altima or his Nissan Maxima about 10 years ago. There was a stationary truck parked on the side of the road, and Dagreen ran under that vehicle. He died. So they've brought a lot of sadness and pain in our hearts. Apart from people, some of you guys even have family members that have been affected by these things. People that just die. You're driving on the road, you run into a pothole, you roll over, your car somersaults. Now you need emergency medical services, but there is none. Your vehicle is on fire. No firefighters to come to save you. You just die. Passers-by don't even want to help you because they know that if they get to the hospital, they will need police reports. So these criminals don't deserve any sympathy. They need to be tried in front of a competent court and a judge and possibly sent to prison. We understand we have an upside-down country where criminals become aspirants for presidency. We understand. Same thing with Atiku, Tinubu, all of them, Osibanjo, Saraki, gangsters that are supposed to be on trial. They are the ones that are trying to become the president. No problem. That's how it is now. But when we, the people, in huge numbers, realize the power that we have and realize that we need to stop giving these people any leeway, and we need to start putting more pressure on the necessary institutions that will have them go to prison, then the walls will continue caving in on them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be signing out. This is the African Wahala. Peace, blessings, and have a good night or good morning. Have a great day wherever you are. Blessings.